what about the other cells? So everyone talks about neurons all the time, and they don't talk about these little guys. Those little guys are called glial or sometimes neuroglial cells. They don't all look like that, and they're not labeled carefully there, but what I want you to understand is that neurons are so very specialized that they don't do anything except their neuron thing. So they are so specialized that, like, let's just look at these two. These two within like the gray matter of the brain are so specialized that they don't know how to feed themselves. They don't know how to take out the trash. They don't know how to do anything. And so what they have to have is like an entire support staff working for them at all times. So they have been movie stars since they were babies. And they don't know how they like their coffee. They don't know how to pay their bills. They don't know how to do anything. So they get this entire support staff. And the support staff is different when you are at home in the central nervous system than when you are on location in the peripheral nervous system. So there are 4 different types of glial cells that support neurons in the CNS, but then if they're in the PNS, it's only 2. Okay, so CNS glial cells are what we're going to look at first. So a metaphor for most of them. So first, you have these little guys right here. Oh wait, sorry. These little guys right here called astrocytes. Let me show you. So they're called astrocytes because they kind of look like star-shaped. And astrocytes, we used to think were just like scaffolding, holding things together, because you can see that's part of what it's doing there and it's part of what it's doing here. But now we know that astrocytes do far more than that. They are attaching neurons to other cells. They're helping to support structures, but they also assist in supporting what we call the blood-brain barrier. And the blood-brain barrier makes sure that anything funky that gets into your bloodstream does not get into your central nervous system. So they're kind of like gatekeepers. And then we have our oligodendrocytes, which we already talked about. Oligodendrocytes are the ones that cause myelination in the central nervous system. And then we have our microglial cells. See these little guys right here? They're called microglial cells. And microglial cells are kind of little bosses or little badasses. They actually are able to whoop up on almost anything that happens to get into the central nervous system. They're all like your internal security force inside the CNS. And then one last type of cell that's kind of hard to explain, but just stick with me for a second and we'll see it more in the next set of notes. Okay, so do you see how the nervous system looks like it has 2 hollows right there? Those hollows exist in the nervous system, okay? And there are cells that line the hollows right here, okay? Those are called ventricles, the hollows are. The cells that line the ventricles are called ependymal cells. The ependymal cells, one of the things that they'll do is they're going to make cerebrospinal fluid. So you're always going to find them up on a surface. They look like epithelial tissue. That's why they start with epi. Okay, they're not epithelial tissue. They're specialized nervous tissue. So those are called ependymal cells. Now, if you are in the peripheral nervous system, you do not get your whole support staff with you. We've already learned one of the kinds of cells that is in the PNS, and that is how you myelinate an axon in the PNS is with these cells called neurolemmocytes or Schwann cells. But in addition, this is a ganglion because it's neuron cell bodies in the peripheral nervous system, and the ganglion has a multi-purpose assistant that's snuggling all the way around it, and it will do damn near anything. It'll try to protect it, it'll try to bring in coffee, it'll try to take out the trash, it'll do just damn near everything. And those are called satellite cells because they're all around the outside of that cell. So that's a satellite cell. And those would be found in ganglia, right? So the ganglia is going to have neuron cell bodies and the satellite cells are going to be backing up the neuron cell bodies there. So one last little clinical connection about this is that since most neurons are amitotic, they are not as likely a source of cancer as glial cells that are not amitotic. All these glial cells can still go through cell division. So you can run into things like an astrocytoma, an ependoma, an oligodendroma, a microglioma, A neurolemoma. I don't know. I made that last one up. I don't even know if that exists, and I don't know what they're called when they're satellite cells. But regardless, when you have cells that still have the capacity and the predisposition to go through mitosis, then cancer is more likely. So most cancers that originate in the central nervous system originate as gliomas, not neuromas. Okay. I will cover regeneration of nervous tissue in the last video.